Hey folks, Mike Dawkins here from WorldCast Anglers with your Jackson Hole weekend fly fishing forecast for the weekend of March 28th and 29th. It's the last weekend in March coming up. Still winter, obviously, behind me on the lower Henry's Fork, even though it is technically spring. We hope everyone, first and foremost, is safe and healthy out there, heeding to the calls of your local and state governments. The way that I think about this is we've got to get through it together. The birds will sing, the trout will rise, the bugs will hatch. We will get to fish and be normal and enjoy normalcy once again, but we've got to get through this tough time together. So heed the call of what your local governments and state governments are saying, and we'll all fight this thing together so we can be out here enjoying nature, enjoying the fly shop, enjoying what we once, enjoyed in that sense of normalcy. With that being said, we've got some really good fishing options like I described last week. Most of our early spring fishing options are concentrated on the Henry's Fork, the South Fork, the Snake, and the Teton. Our weather looking into this week looks pretty darn good. We've got highs in the high 30s as well as the low 30s. There's a chance of precipitation on Sunday afternoon, but mostly cloudy. If the wind stays down, which it doesn't look like there should be much around Ashton, Jackson, Swan Valley, and Victor, we might see some really good dry fly fishing opportunities with midges and maybe the first sort of cracks of Baetis in those Capnia stoneflies. The Henry's Fork. Here we are, early springtime. We've got 537 CFS being discharged from Island Park Dam, 1,310 CFS being discharged below me out of Ashton. The blue ring olives are on the way. We've actually seen some and heard some reports of some on the lower river below Ashton, mostly Chester, Fun Farm, some of those other areas, even down there a little bit further if you journey down that way. But they should, as water temperatures, daytime temperatures, and nighttime temperatures warm, we should start to see some more prolific blue wing olive hatches here in the next 2 to 4 weeks, as well as we should have our Mother's Day caddis coming up in the next 2 to 4 weeks, getting going, that offer, sort of my opinion, some of their best consistent dry fly fishing opportunities in our local area. Be on the lookout for those. Warm River to Ashton, where I am, that's a great floating option. Jump off canyon is not an option unless you want to put in a lot of work to get your boat or your raft out of there. Aura is an option with good four-wheel drive. Chester is a good option with good four-wheel drive. Vernon is still, a little bit sketchy. I would bring a long piece of rope if you wanted to get out of there. Fun Farm is also a good opportunity. The Henry's Fork, we've got midges hatching right now. I've seen some Capnia stones. I've also seen some Nomura stones. I haven't seen any blue wing olives, but it is a bit chilly today. Probably the chillier of the week. It's hovering like right around 36 degrees here in Ashton. So be on the lookout for those midges, Capnias, nymphing with rubber legs, small pheasant tails, blue wing olive imitations, and streamer fishing is also picking up on the lower Henry's Fork here. So definitely keep those flies low and slow. You don't have to move them super quickly as you would maybe during later springtime, summer, and fall. But definitely put some streamers in your box if you're heading to the river, especially the Henry's Fork this coming weekend. The South Fork of the Snake, we've got 5,810 CFS being discharged from Palisades Dam, 7,150 CFS there on the lower river around Heise. We saw a slight increase come in this week, or around 800 CFS. Water managers are starting to move some water out of Palisades Reservoir, which is very full for this time of year, which is a good sign for us. It's still a nymphing game on the South Fork of the Snake. Cold water temperatures are definitely suppressing some of the dry fly activity. And to be honest, the South Fork of the Snake isn't a great dry fly fishing opportunity river this time of year. It can offer it, but I would look to the Snake and Jackson and the Henry's Fork if you're looking for more dry fly fishing opportunities. The dam and Huskies have been plowed. At the bridge, bring a rope. You definitely can get a boat out there. Conant, bring a really long rope. I probably would take out at the bridge. And everything on the lower river is open besides Cottonwood. So Wolf Flats, Byington, Heise, I don't think there's enough water in there, although with this next jump or so we may be able to access it. Lorenzo, Moran, some of those other ones that can offer some really good fishing early in the year, especially some really good streamer fishing. So definitely check out the South Fork of the Snake there. The Snake in Jackson, 381 CFS being discharged from Jackson Lake Dam, 1,450 CFS there on the lower river going into Palisades Reservoir. As I called attention to last week, 1,450 CFS going into Palisades before the salt and the grays, which aren't pumping in much inflow, and we've got 5,810 CFS coming out of the South Fork. So that's a good indicator that water managers are being proactive in our water situation and water storage. We've got about 100% of average of snowpack in the upper Snake River Basin for reference. Midges and capnias are still dominating the game on the Snake. No words of squalls yet, but similar to those Mother's Day caddis that we should start seeing around the Henry's Fork here in the next, 2 to 3 weeks. Be on the lookout for those as well. Wilson, South Park, and Astoria boat ramps are all open. Big thanks to the Snake River Fund and Jared Backer for doing that for us, for the angling community, as well as the general river users and all those looking to enjoy the great outdoors during our time of social distancing. Definitely check out Astoria. Some of those other areas are going to offer some really good wade fishing opportunities, as well as Wilson and some of those areas around South Park. Big news coming out of the docket this week. Grand Teton National Park is closed, so some of my favorite winter fishing opportunities on the Snake, which is throwing streamers below Jackson Lake Dam, is now closed. First time that I've seen that since I've lived here since 2004. Definitely it is a product of the times of what we're going through right now. So remember, Grand Teton National Park and all of Yellowstone National Park are closed at these times. The Teton up in Teton Valley, 249 CFS there around Driggs, 515 CFS there on the lower river. The Teton's still low, it's still cold, it's still very clear. It can offer some good fishing opportunities, mostly nymphing with San Juan worms, midges, small pheasant tails, things along those lines. It can offer some really good fishing opportunities this time of year, but I wouldn't have much exceeded expectations for it outside of a nymphing game in finding deeper holes and deeper pieces of water that are going to hold fish this time of year. South baits, and Rainy are all accessible, so if you're looking for a quick float that you just want to get out on the water, dust off the boat, dust off the oars, get a couple strokes in, definitely check those out this coming weekend if you want to definitely get on the water but don't want to bite off a huge chunk of something like Warm River to Ashton or something like that. WorldCast anglers, we're open in limited capacity. We're not closed, but unfortunately we can't have a bunch of people coming through our fly shop right now. So call us, email us with any of your fly fishing needs. We're there for you guys. All fly shops in the United States right now are going through a tough time, so definitely support them. I know me personally, I called up a couple of my favorite fly shops in areas where I like to frequent and fish outside of the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. I bought a couple dozen flies, just to keep things pumping and going through the fly shop, and supporting our small local businesses in every area. So if you have some time, you have some extra cash, give those guys a ring, give any fly shop a ring. They'll be psyched to hear from you. We always like hearing from everybody, and if you can place an order, even better. Our gift card giveaway is ending tomorrow around 4 or 5 o'clock. Purchase a $50 gift card from our profile link or in the link in the YouTube video below, and we'll enter you to win a complimentary free guided trip from a couple WorldCast Anglers guides, including myself. So everyone, thanks for tuning in. First and foremost, again, stay safe, be healthy, practice social distancing on some of your local rivers, get outside, enjoy the fresh air. We'll see you here next week. Thanks for tuning in.